Hey everybody, welcome to the Bizarre Briefing.
Yo.
Hi.
August 2016. It is September when we're recording this live, but
We're talking about what we did in August.
It's August 40th.
it's right. It's
August 4th.
I'm Bryce Castillo, joined with Brant Hughes.
Hi.
And John Tilton.
I'm glad it's August 40th because that means all the cheese I have in my fridge has not expired yet.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Good.
We're going to dive into that right after this recording.
It's a cheese update. So welcome. This is our behind the scenes podcast where we talk about what it's like to work on Scam School, Scam Stuff, Modern Rogue, the giveaway videos, Scam School Remix, all the podcasts and Diamond Club stuff. So thank you for joining us. We are a week. We're almost 2 weeks late. We are late. We're recording this late because we just got back from DragonCon, which was one of many travels topics last month. In fact, last month we didn't even. That was right before CreateCon. So in the time span of the 5 or 6 weeks time span, we've had DragonCon, DEF CON, as well as the Scam School shoot in Las Vegas, and CreateCon.
I didn't go to any of them.
Right.
So,
and there was also 2 magic shows thrown in there as well. One of which Brian went to on his own, and I was on for the other one. So it's been a busy month. It's been pretty crazy. What do we want to start off with first? I guess maybe go reverse chronological order. Maybe start with DragonCon.
Sure. Yeah.
So we got back from DragonCon on Monday, and it was really great. Brian did the magic show. Justin did about 9 minutes in the middle of Brian's show as
I saw that.
As the name redacted magician, the all setups magician, who only does setups for tricks. It was really great, and everybody Justin was kind of nervous about it, and I think they mentioned this on the very nice Night Attack episode that they did that night. It was like, well, are we gonna do it? Where in the show do we do it? Do we start with it? Is that between the guys? And then how long does it go? Because it's the kind of thing where it could go as long as it needed to, but they had a rip cord that they could pull if it wasn't working. But it worked really, really well. Just Justin running like up and down this banquet hall, not wearing shoes, not having a microphone, and just like being so loud that everybody can hear him, which is like really great. It was a fantastic performance.
Especially for since all of us are so inundated with magic routines and stuff.
Yes.
It played really well to us as an audience.
And I think the people who aren't into magic understood it pretty quickly. Because people have seen magic.
Sure.
People know that there's set up into these.
At the very least, there are common tropes of magic that he played off of.
Yeah. Here, take a deck, shuffle it up, pick a card, give the rest of the cards to someone else. Shuffle those. Write a name on it. Don't let me see all sorts of.
Keep it away from my hands.
Keep it away from my hands. So that was the magic show. That went off pretty well. In fact, it went so long we had to cut Mr. Happy Pants.
Oh.
And then the next night we had Night Attack live with Scott Sigler and a couple of the Turquoise Jeep kids. We had Flint Flossie, whatchamacallit, and Baby. And their new signee, Pierre Cashmere, who does not exist on the internet. Pierre Cashmere does. I try to, have a link for people at the end of those edited Night Attack videos. Nah.
Ghost.
Nah. He's brand new. Well, and it's like, that's probably a new nickname or a new artist name or something. And it was weird. That was really great. They did the normal cosplay paddle. They did Don't Get Brodied, which was fun. And PowerPoint Roulette, which is an old DragonCon bit where they get a PowerPoint presentation that they've not seen. And they have to give a topic based on these pictures that P. Delahanty put together.
Oh, that's always fun.
Those.
Yeah.
I've seen them do that, yeah.
That's available now at nightattack.tv. It was a really funny show. Scott Sigler, man. Give him a little Scotch Sigler. His comedy persona is also very funny. So that was DragonCon. We got to see a lot of really great people. Oh, we did the Rogue's Toast. Man, actually really packed. We did a live stream for about 15 or 20 minutes. That's going to go up on the Scam Stuff channel probably sometime in the next week. It's just a matter of getting it off of Brian's phone and uploading it. But that was a lot of fun. Tall Beard Dude.
Was he just streaming his knee again?
No, I don't know how that. So I saw that show up on my YouTube subscription. That was just said Periscope, Brian's knee.
Yeah.
Was it just Brian's knee?
It was.
Was there like
it was like 3 minutes of Brian periscoping his knee and giggling. That's all it was.
But so was it a bit where like he was trying to stealth stream audio and something funny was happening in the background? No, just giggling.
No, he just wanted to have a stream that said, "Hey, I'm just streaming my knee. Don't watch this." And then it was just his knee, and then he was like, "Huh, you're watching it."
Jesus, 1 million people follow this man on Twitter.
Yeah.
So we did the Rogue's Toast, and Michael Lipton brought a batch. Matt Campbell, Waffleophagus, brought his own take on it, and that was a really good time. So that'll go up on the Scam Stuff channel soon, and that was DragonCon. A lot of drinking. We found a speakeasy. We found one.
That was like your first day there, right?
Yeah. We found it, and then we were like going back every night, and the service got like worse and worse every night. Like the last night we were there, there was a bartender and like an assistant bartender, and one waitress to like do service for this whole bar. And this is like it's a speakeasy, so they're like, these are quality drinks, so they're gonna take a little while, and they take a while. So it was just like, man, these are expensive drinks and they're taking a very long time. You couldn't even order them because you were just waiting the time. Anyway, I thought it was just funny after we had done all these mixology things with Modern Rogue at a speakeasy that we found one. We walk up and there's like a kind of a bouncer sort of guy there. And Justin, because Justin has got this silver tongue, was just like talked him into like, hey, no.
Right.
If there was a telephone number for this telephone box, what would some of those numbers be? And, just like, hey, we got 12 people here. All the persuasion stuff. So
Sure.
that was very cool. And that was DragonCon. And now going backwards, would that be DEF CON?
Sounds right.
Or no, was CreateCon before that?
Well, I feel like there's something in between DEF CON and DragonCon, right?
We went to some magic shows. Those went fine. Kind of not a whole lot to talk about that. I think it was DEF CON, because DEF CON was right after Disney, I think.
Yeah, I know CreateCon was first, and then it was DEF CON.
Yes,
But I thought there was
Disney.
something in between those two.
There was a magic show. No, I don't know. I don't know what was in between those two.
We blocked that part out.
So-
It must have been really bad.
So I was only at DEF CON for a day. We flew in. Y'all got the booth set up a little bit, and then we shot some stuff with Matt King, which we're now starting to put out on the Scam School channel. So I guess this is to you, John. Like, how was DEF CON?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was really cool to come in and see Matt King's show. It was weird because Matt King's been doing that show forever, and there were certain things that were really familiar to me, and I was trying to figure out if I had seen his show before, like when I was a kid and went to Vegas with my dad, but I couldn't remember. And my dad denied that we went, and I was like, but why do I remember all this stuff? Anyway, so I can't figure it out, and it's been really bothering me ever since.
Been leading a double life.
I know, but Matt King was awesome, and then I thought those episodes that we got shot went super well.
Yeah,
and really gave a nice kind of variety of entertainment from them. And it was just a good time there. Then we got into DEF CON, which was a learning experience. It was very I guess the best way to describe it as far as like from a working standpoint, it was like, okay, so you started at 9 a.m. and then it closes at, what was it, like 6 p.m., 7 p.m.? Like, and it was like that whole time
You're selling.
you're just selling stuff. and then you get really hungry and you're like, oh, I didn't plan this well. And
Yeah.
you feel like you're going to die. So that happened the first day. The other 2 days, it was a little bit better because I knew what to expect. So I could like plan like, okay, this is what I'm going to eat, like, you know, at these times and all this stuff. And then it was slower too. So like everything in general kind of went better. But then it was really interesting just because, you know, we're used to selling online. And, you know, some similar principles apply, but it's a very different animal. So there was a lot of adjustment from us in terms of like, you know, how do you get people, you know, listening to your pitch about stuff, and how do you explain to them, you know, why something is cool and all that good stuff. But yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. But it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Were they a rowdy bunch? The DEF CON
Rowdy,
people?
like how?
I don't know.
I think I imagine the DEF CON crowd to be not aggressive, but like kind of rowdy, right? Like if you've seen that, like there are rules lists of like tips, and they're all like very like internet standoffish, you know, just like if you don't know what you're doing, just come, like blah blah blah.
Yeah, when Brian passed around the like DEF CON etiquette page or whatever, I read through most of that and went like, I don't think this is a place I want to be at.
Huh, I have not seen
Was this written
that.
in 2003 on 4chan or something? Like it's like a little flippant.
Yeah.
We had a very we only saw a very specific part of the con. I did stand in line to get one of our badges, and it from that standpoint, it seemed like every other con to me. So, but I really didn't get into like, you know, I wasn't going to panels. I was like selling at the booth, and so I think when you get like the type of people who come to like buy a thing at a convention, like that's a certain type of people there too. So, like you go with people with the intention of buying something from like a vendor.
Sure.
And I don't know.
Your
like,
interaction is very specific.
yeah, like the people were kind of what I expected in terms of like interaction and stuff. I didn't think anything felt like rowdy. I didn't feel like we were getting pushed around for like selling stuff or
Good.
Gotcha.
anything like that. So that was good. Oh crap! I forget what I was going to say about.
Brian thought
Something.
he had his laptop
Oh
stolen.
my god! So I
Oh,
get
yeah,
home.
that's true.
I get home, and I wake up the next. I fell asleep on the couch, and I wake up to like Bonnie calling me, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have to do anything right now. I'm just gonna hit the voicemail. It's just gonna be my little selfish.
Although you know, if
moment.
Bonnie's calling you, something might be like either horribly wrong or like just a random like question. Like there's really two extremes if there's a Bonnie call. It's like oh, it'll be an enjoyable, like fun, you know, answer just a question call, or it'll be like something is seriously messed up, and like Brian
I
can't
figured-
even tell you it's so messed up.
I figured if it was bad enough, I'd get another call. Sure enough,
There you go.
sure enough, 10 minutes, Brian calls me
Uh-oh.
and says, hey, ooh,
Yeah.
I think I lost my laptop. Have you seen my laptop? Did you take my laptop with you, or have you seen it? And I distinctly remember just not having seen it at all. There was no occasion for him to use it. So no, I haven't seen it. And so he goes, okay, well, I think it might have been stolen here in DEF CON. Bonnie's freaking out. We're all freaking out. Can you call Bonnie and like help her reset passwords, because I am on the floor and have to like.
The thing about this though too was because so you heard everything from Brian's perspective here, and it was interesting because when he noticed was right before that block of like 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, the reason we came here is going to happen now, and there's going to be like nothing we can do about anything.
Yeah.
So it was like this weird thing where we kind of had to like put stuff on pause socially because like Brian was going through this crisis, but then I was with we had
Brett,
we had Brent come with us,
Brent Braun.
and he and I were kind of talking about it like, well, wait a second, like if someone stole the laptop, like you have access to everything. And you also know that at some point they'll notice and, start shutting you down.
Sure.
So, what you're going to do is immediately start to,
Change passwords.
Yeah, if you're stealing it for a, malicious reason, you're going to act on that right away. And nothing had happened yet. So we're like, well, this is kind of funny. And it was Brent who made the decision to just call the airport. Because I thought that right away.
You're jumping the gun to the end of the story.
Sorry.
So I get off the phone with Brian, and so I call Bonnie back, and she's like, "Yeah, we heard the laptop was stolen." So, and so I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm thinking like the most important things are like the Google accounts and stuff." So, I'm like, "Okay, so could you just go to Gmail? It's on the computer upstairs. It's probably already logged in. Go hit the button that logs everything out, and you're gonna go change the password." She goes, "Well, I'm out with the kids right now, so I can't do anything with that right now." And I'm like, okay. And then maybe, so I get off the phone with her, and I basically tell her to call me when she's able to get to a computer. And then I get on a group text message with maybe 13 people that Brian has sent to like Tom and Justin and Andrew and like literally anybody in his contact book that could be computers, just like, hey, shit's fucked. Can we just get a list of all the things I'm gonna need to reset? And then how much later was it? Like an hour or so? I feel like it was very short.
It didn't go. It felt like a longer time for us too, because we were like, there's a lot of stuff that needed to be done, and I had the first thing I was suspicious, because nothing had actually happened yet,
right?
And so I asked if it was possible if he left it at the airport, and
because you had to take it out of your bag.
He said it
for
wasn't
the
possible,
TSA.
but he didn't have a very good reason why. And so I was kind of like, I don't know what happened, but people are dealing with this. I can't deal with this. I'm just going to focus on what we need to do. And then Brent, the obvious genius that he Brent did so many things on this trip that it was like, oh, why didn't I think of that 3 years ago to do that? But he just called the airport and asked, described the laptop, and they're like, yeah, we got that here. And then it was like, maybe we should have followed through on that first, okay, where can it be that would, if it was actually there, would simplify everything.
And this was,
but we went into panic mode.
Yeah, this was maybe
a little
10 minutes after we changed the YouTube password. When that's 2 steps, so it's like, hey, everybody, you're gonna need this password, and you're gonna need the text message from Brian's phone for if you want to upload anything.
Well, that's if you're logging into that account directly and not like a manager account.
Sure, but I think that was before we set up managers. Okay, well,
I've had a manager account for 2 years.
Oh, well, what do you do? No, I don't have that. So it was right after that, and right after I wrote this message in Slack so that just everybody was on the same page, hey, we think we lost the laptop, it might be stolen, so we're going to start resetting passwords immediately. And then right after the word comes in, it's like, never mind, it's in Austin, Texas, it's in the airport. They just left it.
Yeah, so I think that was end of the week probably, so I was still kind of recovering from a week of editing stuff.
Yeah, this was Saturday, I think.
By the time that I woke up that day,
it was already resolved.
I just saw the aftermath, and I was like, oh, this is a funny thing that happened.
Yeah. So that was kind of the DEF CON panic.
The other thing that was crazy at DEF CON was that we did really well, but we wanted to be safe with stuff in terms of we didn't want to just sell out immediately and then, have nothing to do the rest of the days. So we got a lot of inventory in thinking, oh, well, we can also just sell it during Christmas.
Sure.
But then when you're actually there, it's like, okay, well, we have all this stuff in our hotel room, and now it needs to leave our hotel room because we're leaving on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And so then it was this whole thing of I don't know how much you guys know about a lot of what I do here at the warehouse is building pallets of stuff that, things that we have to touch and put it on a pallet and get it shipped out.
Yeah.
And it's I understand how that works in my element, but then it was oh man, I have to build this pallet in our hotel room and figure out what to do. So it was like this really weird experience of, everything already being chaotic and then just having all this crap and it needing to like be shipped out. So it was a really just weird experience overall, but
Yeah. And then the night before before DEF CON officially started, we shot episodes of Scam School with Matt King. And man, I always am bad with his name. Not J.F. Dubois, that is the science fiction author. Goudeau.
Michael.
Yes.
Goudeau, from Sunday School. We knew Brian was going out to DEF CON and he was going to be out there for a while. And I don't know if Mac reached out to Brian first or if it was the other way around. But like every time Brian has been in or around Las Vegas, he's always been itching to be like, hey, can we just do anything for Scam School? And it's tough because, normally a Scam School shoot is, a 3 or 4 man operation. It's got a lot of equipment. And what ended up happening is it was myself and John and Mitsula actually was running audio for us, Chris Minton, who was already doing like a million favors for us that weekend.
Sure.
That was probably the easiest favor he had to do for us.
Yeah. I need you to sit here, and if something goes wrong, there's nothing you can do. So just listen. And we ended up shooting like 4, I think it was 4 episodes of really good gags and like kind of goofier things with Mac from his book. In his he's really got a gorgeous home, and it was really easy. It was one of those things where it went by really fast. So I was a little in that when I was editing the episode, the first one that went up, I was like, man, I wish we had stopped and gotten a little more coverage on X, Y, or Z, but also everything is pretty simple. So it's all explained well enough. But I think those came out really well, and I think the reaction to them has already been good. I think that first one's already at 50,000 views on YouTube, which is pretty good. And you should be seeing those in the next coming weeks. We've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Lastly, going backwards in time, CreateCon. This was in Orlando. This was a new independent podcast convention from our friends at amove.tv. They do The Angry Chicken, the Hearthstone podcast. They do The Instance, which is a WoW podcast. Do they do The Instance? I think they do The Instance. Or maybe that's Rock Pants.
Yeah, I thought The Instance is Scott Johnson.
They do Into the Nexus, which is Heroes of the Storm. Right. The Instance, Scott. So they do a lot of Blizzard and gaming podcasts, and they invited Brian and Justin out to do Night Attack and do other, business of podcasting, monetizing podcasting panels and things. And it was just a nice little one-day convention in Orlando, Florida. It was funny. Going into it, I was like, well, I reached out to Garrett, who is on these shows and was kind of leading the whole thing. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be there. If there's any tech stuff, just run it through me. I'm sure it'll be super simple. I'm going to bring all this stuff. And he goes, oh, man, I had no idea you were going to come. If I knew, I would have asked you to help me do a lot more stuff. And it turned out to be that, most of that day I kind of wasn't doing anything, right? Like for Night Attack, sometimes I'll hold a camera. This time I didn't even do that, mostly because it was a very straightforward setup. But I ended up spending the day at the mixing board just doing tech for this whole podcast convention, which was fun up until I broke everything. I broke everything.
Uh-oh. I didn't hear about this.
So in the middle of the Gamers Inn, which is I think it's a morning show. I think it's a morning show style podcast. It's like 2 hours long. It was one of the very first ones that they did. And everything was running off of a desktop computer that someone had brought in, hooked up to really good internet, had, webcams and stuff set up. And this desktop computer is unique because I think the case is not vanity, but I think it's got like designs and stuff. So the power button is like a little gem that juts out of the face of like it's got like a bump that
Okay.
comes out of it, and the desktop was facing forward under this desk. So I crossed my legs just to change my seating position, and I accidentally bumped the power button. And this computer, this was like running on Windows 7, so it was maybe a little older, but this computer was set up so that when you press the power button, it kills the power. Not activates shutdown, kills the power.
Just kill switch.
Just stops everything. And Windows doesn't like when you do that.
Sure.
So we spent maybe 20 or 30 minutes trying to figure out why we couldn't get any video out of this computer, right? We had it hooked up to a monitor, but there was nothing coming out. So we eventually we try it on the internal graphics card, the CPU graphics port, and every time we've been trying to boot this computer up, it's been trying to do the Windows recovery thing, which if you let it sit for a few minutes, will eventually like resolve itself because it's like, oh, everything's fine because it's always fine. But we were definitely like, I was definitely pissing my pants, just like I broke somebody's computer and they brought it just for this and it won't even turn on. I grazed it. I did not. To call it a kick would be only accurate in the most technical sense.
Right.
Like, I didn't fucking John Cena this thing on its back. But I was just super worried, and so they ended up losing about 30 minutes of the morning in.
I thought you were going to say about like 30% of their files or something. I was like, what?
No, thankfully we were we were breaking stuff down as we were doing it. But I think that was like the second show of the day, and it's at the point where like you lose enough of any show, and it's just not going to make any sense. So the rest of the day went off without a hitch. We moved the desktop to face the other way, and we recorded a really funny night attack where the guys broke down that really racist "I Want to Be Ninja" song. From Allison Murphy, the queen of Allison Murphy beds. They're Murphy beds. They're Murphy beds. And that's also available at nightattack.tv. And then we went to Disney afterwards, and they've talked about this on Night Attack, so go check out that episode. Had a really great fun time. Apparently, if you know enough people, you can get 20 people into Disney and give them all enough fast passes to last you the entire day. So, that's that. And that is the convention talk.
You know what I will say? My computer case has an embedded power button, which is fine, but it's got like reset buttons and stuff. But they've got like the flip up hatches from like fighter jets.
Oh, that's great. Little safety panels.
So that way you can't like bump into it. I think more cases should have that.
Wow. Want to just move down the list here?
Strengths, I don't watch Night Attack. I will openly admit to that. Also, John,
Oh, yeah, that's
John
not
stopped
a-
watching Night Attack long before I did.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched Night Attack.
Oh, really?
Because
Never? You've been
well,
on Night Attack.
no, well, when it was an SFW show.
Sure.
Yeah, because that's kind of when you dropped off.
Yeah. So I haven't watched the new iteration. I think I watched one episode.
Traders.
Sorry.
I haven't watched since like episode 30. Every now and then I'll tune into like half of a live one or something.
There are good ones. Like, every show can be hit or miss. But, I mean...
Oh, it's not because it's not, we're not watching it because we think it's like bad or something. Like
Sure.
it's just, I
already
don't
get
know how
enough
to
of Brian.
describe it. Yeah, it's like, well, especially when you do a lot of work with it and it's like, it's, especially for me, it's like out of my zone of like focus too. So, yeah.
But
Anyway.
also like we're gonna hear all the stories that are brought up on Night Attack anyway.
Yes. Yep.
And
Yep. Which is a big problem for me because I listen to all of Brian's podcasts because I
so
produce
you
all of
hear
them.
all the stories like 5 times.
I hear every story
Yeah.
multiple times. Yeah. I know what he's listening to on audiobook. I know what his experience. When he was doing, there was a period there where he was talking about Naughty Dog and how Naughty Dog is like an analogy for a man, for like a person.
Right. I remember
they're
when
like-
Brian was big on that.
They've got, their midlife crisis and maturing and whatever. I heard that story maybe 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
Start to finish. It was at the point where I think we were doing some sort of shoot in here, and Brian was starting to tell Jason or somebody about it. I was like, I have to leave this room. I cannot listen to it. So anyway,
funny.
Night Attack. Check it out. Let's talk about this because I don't know the full story about this ad.
Yeah.
We
Time code.
I got it.
Okay.
If you follow the Scam Stuff channel on YouTube, you'll see that there was a rejected ad,
Sure.
which was in the style of an early viral video for the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah.
You know, with the angry phone call. I was on my phone. and
Somebody
you
left a
couldn't-"
drunk voicemail, and then they just said, we'll just air this voicemail because who's going to step up to it and be like, that's mine. You can't use that.
Yeah.
And so they were real tongue-in-cheek about it.
Yeah. So it was an ad aping that for a sponsor of a show. Mm-hmm. What was the process? I've put out ads before, and I think are they gonna even like this?
I've put out ads that I'm surprised that they were like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Did these people tell you why it was rejected? Like what happened?
Yeah, so this was in, this was the last month or whatever. So this was in a period of Brian's being totally gone, and there's no way that I can get like anybody to help out with an ad.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, what's like a really easy thing to do? And also, I think at the time, like, you guys might have been in Vegas, so the camera equipment's gone. So it's like I gotta really.
Yeah, you got nothing. To work with.
I got to be creative with this. And so I was like, oh, well, we could do a parody of this, and that's great because then I just need audio from Brian, and then I can do the rest is just text on screen.
Yeah, which is much how the original video was.
Yeah. And I thought it was really funny, and we also had I feel like I found a really good take of it. Instead of somebody being mad that they got kicked out of a movie theater for using their phone to text somebody, it was Brian who called in to the show's voicemail, who was mad because he was Googling the solution for a problem before it was taught or whatever, something like that. And it was pretty good, and we went almost line by line for the actual thing, which there's a fair amount of cursing, but it's all bleeped out for the censored version or whatever.
Yeah.
And so usually the way that it works is I put it together and then I send it out to our contact at Discovery, and then I don't know if they review it or if they send it to somebody to review. I don't really know, but
yeah, I feel like they review it because I will get pretty fast turnaround sometimes on that, but I think it does depend.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And so they watched through it, and I think it was a mixture of two things. So I think one, they probably didn't immediately get the reference.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I watched it too. That's one of the first things that came to mind is like, oh, this is probably also a very like limited.
Yeah.
It's an old video. I mean, it's
Well, and I know there's draft houses other places now, but I don't even know if those draft houses play that video.
I don't think the ones here still play it.
I've seen what they
lately
do is
they will do a clip of it or like a little bit.
or they'll reference that video in like they'll do like a parody of their own video sometimes. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
So it's like a limited audience already.
Yeah, and then two,
Which usually has never stopped us before, to be fair.
right. Case in point, Heat Vision and Jack. That's a weird ad. That's
Very
just me.
short, weird ad.
That's
yeah.
me going for like a minute, and then everybody's like, I don't even know what just happened. What is? But I think the thing about those weird ads is you watch them and you go, okay, they're referencing something and I don't get it, and it's just weird.
But
okay.
I see the messaging points.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we did fine with the messaging on the Draft House one, but if you don't get the reference, it doesn't come off as weird as it does aggressive.
True.
Yeah.
And so I think it just sort of straddled the line of hostility, which I mean, admittedly is kind of what I've been trying to do for the past like 4 months of just like how can I just like really push the boundaries of what is acceptable.
Well, because your kind of take on the ad flips a few things around that are important from. So when the Draft House plays it, from their perspective, they're being attacked by this outside source, and you're on their team, right? Whereas, because you have Brian reading all the stuff, right? So it's kind of like this. It's kind of a weird like.
Because normally
Like
people
it makes
empathize
sense
with
as a
Brian.
parody, but if you don't get the parody, it just sounds like it's Brian like being really, like you said, aggressive toward like the
Himself.
people. Yeah, himself or the people watching, or like, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was the response? Was it like, can you make these edits, or was it just this is not gonna work?
Something.
It was like, we think this is like on the borderline of appropriateness or something like that, and I think it was more a thing of she was probably fine with it, but
Someone else.
she was
or
like, I think if this goes live, we might.
get issues.
Yeah,
Sure.
somebody might see this and be like, I don't know so much about that. So I think it was more of a safety thing, and then it was like, so I woke up on Wednesday at like 1 p.m.
Yeah,
or something
like,
with just an email that said, "Hey, can you just make another ad?" And I was like, that's not really how this works, but okay.
So what ended up being the ad for that week? I don't.
I just so
was that the beach?
Yeah.
The beach sort of stock video thing.
yeah, so
Okay.
I get emails from Pond 5 every week that's like, "Hey, here's a free video clip."
Oh hey.
And so I just that week was like some tropical island, and I went, well, I guess I'm doing some kind of voiceover on this.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it was quick, so it was a really unassuming ad.
Yeah.
So I
Man,
think it worked out, but
that's rough.
yeah,
But at least it wasn't something you like
put a lot
put
of
a
time,
lot of
and
time
effort.
into. Yeah. Like I know I had the ad this week, which was the sock puppet sort of thing, and it was a thing where I was thinking about it, and I knew it could be something that I could do without Brian, and it might be a little bit of craft, and having a little element of craft will make it fine and funny and stuff. But I was done with it, and I thought, I don't know if this is good enough. It was one of those things where it's like the idea was good, but like, if the execution is going to be all right, then at least the concept, or it should be funny, like should be on a good caliber. I don't know. I was really self-conscious about that ad this week, but
Yeah. And
I went to Walmart and bought stuff, so that's that.
yeah, and so I thought a lot about this at the time, because like we do, like we said earlier, we do some ads that are like sometimes not even really, we
About
don't
the
even really
product.
hit the points.
Yeah.
I remember there's definitely been at least one ad where I never mentioned the sponsor name. I think the Twilight Zone ad, I say the domain zone, and that's as close as we get to saying the sponsor in that entire ad.
Yeah.
But it was brought up by Bonnie when we were shooting the Stranger Things ad. She was like, "How does this help sell the product?"
Right.
And so
And
for me, there's like, if you do something for like Squarespace, right? Everybody knows Squarespace. Everybody's heard of Squarespace.
Yeah.
They just need you to say like, just say the points and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Somebody like Domain, for instance, I feel like they're a bit less well known.
Right. They don't have the like crazy wide podcast. Every
Right.
podcast is sponsored by Squarespace.
Sure.
Except for Night Attack anymore. But domain.com is like has got some very particular ad buys.
Sure.
They're not everywhere.
Yeah. And so for me, it feels like the way that I've been sort of structuring all of my ad creative process over the past few years is not, okay, we need to like get conversion rates. We need somebody to see this ad and go, "Oh yes, I do need a domain name. I'm gonna go buy one now." What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make them weird in such a way that they're really memorable. So that way, you get inundated with this messaging, but if you like kind of remember something, the day that you go, "Oh, I do need a domain name," you look up a list of registrars and you go,
And it's,
"Oh, I recognize that one."
Yeah.
I'm strictly just trying to build off of recognizability.
And I think domain specifically for Scam School having been a sponsor for such a long time, and for having fans that have been watching the show for a very long time, like promo code Scam School is in a lot of cases burned into their mind. I
Sure.
know it's just kind of sometimes a chat room joke of like, you didn't get your website on domain.com with promo code Scam School for 50%. Like, no, it's not an ad. it's just like kind of this funny little baked in tiny bit of identity, which is maybe weird in a conceptual level, but it's the reality of what it is. It's memorability. Yeah. Jerry Fax asks, if you hang on to that ad, the rejected ad, do you think it could get the okay in the future after they forgot that they said no, or are rejected ads truly rejected? Yeah, I think in a case like this where someone said, hey,
Right.
I think people will not like it. I think that there's just not going to be any.
Yeah, and also like for me, that would be embarking on weird territory where, you know, there was that case two bizarre briefings ago or whatever when we talked about you reused an ad once,
Right.
And for me, like that's the exact same thing where it's just like I wouldn't even want to do that because it's already out there. People have already seen it.
Sure.
So
I probably, I don't know. I probably would have been in that specific case. You know, there was a time travel thing
right.
up on that. So, in a different circumstance, I probably would have felt similar. But also, it was our contact's recommendation. It was just like, you just reuse it later. Anyway, so that is the rejected Draft House ad, which is very cool. Hey, good news. I'm seeing some good news here.
Yeah.
Adobe fixed their stuff. What's up?
Yeah, so I'll keep this short.
Sure.
Last episode we talked about some frustrations with the Adobe suite and their updates. Within like a week of us recording that episode or whatever, they pushed out a big update and it fixed a lot of things. It's not perfect. There's still problems, but it fixed like the stuff that made it like uneditable. I couldn't do my work because it was so broken.
Wow.
And now it's like not broken.
Nice.
In that way, at least.
That's like a good thing when you're bug fixing, is to make stuff not broken.
Yeah, it's literally the most successful Adobe update I've ever seen
Wow. Dude, that's fantastic.
because it's the only one that didn't break things.
Because your updates were breaking your like dynamic links and your templates and stuff.
And also, like, my hard drives would just stall out because Adobe was doing weird things and losing footage and then slowly finding it back. And so it would like double my work time. Yeah, it was bad.
Sergeant Muffin asks, are updates forced on Creative Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud? They're not. So, like, I'm still running Creative Cloud 2014 on my Windows 8.1 computer. But you've been keeping up with the updates and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're getting new features and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So that's kind of the trade-off. You know, I'm not going to get Lumetri quick look stuff on 2014 just because that's a 2015 thing, I think. But I got something that I know works, and I'm very skittish. I've got a very old school, like, don't mess with it. It works.
Right.
I mean, what's the adventure in that, though, Bryce? Like,
Yeah.
Brant wakes up every day being like, all right,
Who knows if
Never-
I can do my job?
hope it works.
You never know. But the day it does work.
Yeah, and then you don't get that, like, glorious, like, the update works. This is the best day of my life.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think I think we can announce this. Can we announce this?
Yep. And
Okay.
by yep, I'm not conferring with anybody. I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
that's something I'm going to talk about.
I mean, what was said in Slack was, we need to do this thing this week. And it's already done
But also, that's the thing that we've been saying
for like 3 months.
6 to 8 months.
Right. But I think the thing that was holding us back is not holding us back anymore.
Right.
So I don't even know the right way to contextualize it because I don't know any details about it. But we have a new YouTube channel that will be Modern Rogue focused.
Yeah.
I believe that's a proper way to describe it. I think we don't have a custom URL right now because it is
Not yet.
brand new. But if you go to YouTube and look up Modern Rogue, and it should be, oh boy, we need to figure out a way to get it to be the channel that shows up.
Well, I mean,
That'll help once. Because
There are literally 0 views.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once we get the URL, it'll be easy.
Yeah.
Well, don't you need a number of subscribers to do that, or is that an old rule? What's the new rule for that?
That is one of multiple criteria.
Yeah, okay. So you can do like one of There are 5 roads to
Right, 'cause
being
I don't think-
your own URL.
Because like some of it is based on if you verify a phone number. So like we didn't have custom thumbnails for a minute,
Yeah.
if that's right.
But then I verified and got that taken care of.
Yeah. So I don't know what the release schedule is. We've talked about multiple things, but this channel, long term, is going to be a Modern Rogue centric channel.
Yeah, so we're moving Modern Rogue over to there
Yeah.
exclusively. I mean, the old episodes will still stay on Scam School channel, and they're also uploaded here for posterity, but all new stuff is going over there.
And that transition is like, it's gonna happen, but we don't know what that looks like still. Or maybe you have a better idea.
As of this upcoming Thursday, we'll start publishing new episodes to the Modern Rogue channel. And then I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do like
Clips or teasers.
yeah, at least for a little while. I feel like maybe we should sit down and come up with like a finite number of weeks because I don't want to do it permanently.
Right. This is something we talked about, was doing clips or even entire episodes on both channels, which I know I would only, if I was subscribed to both, I would only be able to stand it like for a little while.
Yeah,
I would be like, this is crazy.
I won't sign off on doing full episodes because that just super doesn't make any sense. But we might do like abbreviated, like cut down teaser trailers or something for the previous week's episode and be like, hey, by the way, we moved Modern Rogue over to its own channel, so you should check it out.
Yeah.
Just because it takes people a while to fully shift over. But we're gonna try to grow that out. People ask about outtakes. Outtakes are still gonna be on the Scam Stuff channel. We just kind of want Modern Rogue to be
Just that show.
focus for primary episodes. We might also do like some clip down stuff I want to do for the mixology, the drink making episodes. Those tend to be like the history of the drink and a lot of extra information and stuff. So I might do like a cut down version that's actually just
The recipe.
the instruction. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. And
stuff like that.
I think it. I think in the big picture, keeping outtakes on the Scam Stuff channel makes sense, because that channel was kind of designed to be a supplementary channel. So we've got things like John shot the padlock walkthrough a week or two ago. We've had outtakes on there before, and so that being kind of a bonus channel makes sense,
Right.
because I don't know, that's kind of a unifying sort of thread that can be. So check it out. Looking it up, I wonder if there's a way we can make it like an associated channel on the Scam School and the Scam Stuff page.
We can definitely do that.
So if you go to either of those channels, I think you can see. So like if you go to the Scam School channel, you see featured channels here, and so you'll want to go to see all, and it should show up here. There's only a handful of them here, so keep an eye out here to subscribe, and please do it because that's where the Modern Rogue is going to be very quickly.
Yeah. Is that to help separate the brands? Mostly.
I mean,
That's
there,
probably the simplest way to put it.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are different reasons, but I think at the end of the day, it's kind of a democratizing sort of thing. Like if you think about, like Twit, how it used to be on YouTube, every Twit show was on the same channel, and you were just getting this constant feed of all of their podcasts. Like that makes sense for the channel, but it doesn't make sense for the shows, because the shows get lost and people are seeing things that like they would rather not sign up for, or just too much stuff. So
Yeah.
I think in the whole, it is going to be a more pick and choose sort of thing with these shows.
Yeah, and it used to be a little bit easier back when YouTube actually supported shows, which they don't do anymore.
That's right.
Because
I think
you could subscribe to just a show.
right. And I think the bones of that are still in playlists. Like you can have featured playlists,
Yeah.
but that's still not the show system
and
anymore.
it doesn't surface anymore. And like there is a Scam School show that you can subscribe to, but I don't think we can actually add to it anymore or change anything about it.
Right.
So it's just sort of locked in time in this weird way.
And we've gotten like tons of people who ask like, hey, I looked up Scam School on YouTube and there are 2 of them, because they look like exactly the same in terms of search results, because it's the way they show
Yeah.
shows. So this is kind of sidestepping that and just making certain lines in the sand.
Yeah, and also like there's a lot of like back end stuff of oh, sending videos out to subscription inboxes, like sometimes they surface for more people if the video before it performed well, and so it's kind of weird if we have like a remix that doesn't perform well and then that hurts Modern Rogue or something like that. So it's kind of, it helps us and it helps the viewers. And
yeah. Jerry Fast asks, by separating, do you expect a drop in Modern Rogue views since it won't be in front of as many eyes? Honestly, no. I think I've kind of gone back and forth because that was my initial thing of like, if we separate it out, like if we just like go cold turkey or tell people to go watch it on another thing right now, you're gonna miss people who just aren't gonna watch this thing because it doesn't look like what a Modern Rogue episode looks like, and they won't even click on it. But what is going to be the result of that is the people who do go are going to be super fans, are going to be people who definitely want to watch the show and probably definitely like the show. And when a video comes up, it's going to be the thing that they want to see, especially because the channel is very right now very singular purpose. It is for the Modern Rogue show. So
right.
I think just like in terms of like raw numbers, they will probably go down, certainly at first.
Yeah.
Because of all the people who are subscribed to Scam School and all the people who still use YouTube and all the people who know that the Modern Rogue exists and like it and are willing to click a button, like those people, that transition will happen slowly. Well, the transition will happen for a long time, just at different speeds.
Yeah, and I think sort of like now there'll definitely be episodes that are kind of breakout episodes, and that'll perform well. And we saw when we first started doing Modern Rogue, we were posting them to the Scam Stuff channel.
That's right.
And they seemed to perform pretty well then when there was basically...
There's nobody watching it.
Yeah, there was very few subscribers on the Scam Stuff channel then.
And part of that was, we did a really big push to get those early episodes that were on the Scam Stuff channel to be seen on just social media and Reddit and stuff. And I think we will probably see... We're not going to do this real quietly. Like, you're going to hear about it. We want everybody to know about it. So that, it can continue to be the show that people want to watch.
Yeah. And
hey, we got a bit.ly though, bit.ly/Modern Rogue Channel, that's MODERNROGUECHANNEL.
I was like, who did that for us? Who can we it was Brandon.
Way
to go.
Also, if you like Reddit, we have a Modern Rogue Reddit.
We do?
Yeah, modernrogue.reddit.com. We have like 8 people, and I've been just like posting there quietly for the past 2 months.
Very cool. Let's see. We've got 2 kind of meaty topics here. Which one do you want to do? John, give him A or B?
I don't know.
Let's go with the top one.
Okay.
The bottom one we can kind of do whenever.
Okay. So especially in the past month and a half where we've been traveling every week or every other week or so, and because a lot of us do a lot of remote working, and I don't know if we've actually talked about this on this show specifically or not, but how do you define like your off time when you work from home or when you're working remote? Like how do you find that separation of I'm on the clock or this is me putting in my 8 hours, or however you want to define it? Like what is like your rationale for that?
Yeah, I feel like we've touched on this a little bit on one of our first like 3 episodes or something about like a work life, personal life separation.
Yeah,
but I'm sure a lot of stuff has changed since then. I'm going to toss off to John first because he's probably. It always seemed like he had a better grasp of that, and mine is a little messy. So
well, I think the roles we play kind of changed how we would answer that too, because I know you guys probably have certain, like the way your deadlines work are probably a little more aggressive to you, and so I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds like you guys kind of work in like full kind of day periods off, and then it's like, oh, it's crunch time for, you have that kind of like rhythm to it, where it's like, oh, now it's crunch time. I got to work on this, blah, blah, blah. So I have to put in these hours until it's done, that kind of thing. Whereas, I usually am working with a lot of like other companies to like, move stuff along and that kind of thing. So, so there's some of that where it's like, okay, this person's only available at this time, so I'll have to like, do something off my normal schedule to like work with them to finish this thing. And so some of that does dictate, and then like we have Christmas season coming up, all that stuff, and that'll kind of turn into a different animal where it's like, okay, stuff just needs to get done, and when I can get off time, then that's enjoyable off time, but when I can't, I can't. So it does kind of, for me, depend on the time of year, or if we're like on the road traveling, because like I don't consider any of that like off time. It's like if I'm on the road traveling, it's like that's not.
Oh, interesting.
So, so yeah, it's a lot of how you view it and that kind of thing, but it's also being, like I have to be strict with myself, especially working from home. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to run through these things and then, get everything done that I need to. And I'm usually best when I can work with a strict schedule about like, okay, I'm going to, work from these times. And then when I'm done, I'll just be done unless something major comes up, and then I'll make an exception for it. But I don't know if that's
And I think that sounds pretty typical for most people who have normal 9 to 5s, or are like
sure
have some level of being on call or connected, right?
Yes.
You've got kind of a blocked out schedule and something.
Yeah.
happens.
So there's a typical schedule, but then there's stuff that comes up, and then from there you have to either, because there'll be times when it's like Brian's like really trying to get me to do something, and then it'll be like, you have to kind of gauge with, it's like, do I really need to do this now? And how do I explain that I can do it, super well at this other time? And then there's other things where it's like, no question. It's like, oh, I really need to do that now because something's like broken, or, that kind of thing. So
very cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have such a different, kind of,
Role?
yeah, like my responsibilities are like a kind of a different animal than I would think like the video editing is, because you have a very that just like deadline focused, of like, well, shows come out at this time, this is when people expect it, that sort of thing. And I guess I get some of that with when new releases come out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost more adjustable too, because like sometimes something goes wrong with a new release, and it's like, well, this is definitely not going to be done on time, so we'll just push it back and then throw something else in the meantime. So it's a lot of being like adaptable, I guess, too. But I don't know.
I think for us, well, for me, I have to work around, not only shoots and edits and stuff, but also the podcasts. So like every Sunday afternoon, every Monday night, every Tuesday night, I've got to be here and flipping the switches or whatever. Along with, Wednesday night is Scam School night. Thursday day, we'll try to shoot the giveaway video. Friday, afternoon, evening, we'll try to put that video out. It's kind of a weird thing just in terms of like, well, like for example, we have got a giveaway video. We have a cut available of. I only saw one comment from Brian about liking a certain thing about it, but I don't even know if he wants revisions on it. But we shot it yesterday in the afternoon, later afternoon, and I like to have those done by the morning so that y'all have time to write an email, or we can work on titles, or I can just get off my plate, because once that's done, I feel like I have generally the rest of that day and Saturday off as kind of a weekend. And it was this sort of thing where, we ended up shooting a little later and a little longer, and I don't think the AC was working. No, the AC was working yesterday.
Well, when we were there, it was.
Yeah.
But we started late because there was a point
they were fixing
that it
AC.
wasn't. But we never experienced that point.
And it was this sort of thing of like, I got home and, I hadn't eaten. And so it's this weird thing of like telling yourself it's okay to stop working to go eat, or to, go to bed. It was about 4 a.m. when I went to bed, And, you know, if I stayed up another 2 hours, I could have gotten it done. But also, if there are any changes, I still wouldn't find out about them until, you know, nowish or the afternoon or sometime, you know, later. And I don't know. I think there's a weird balance with like, it puts yourself in a weird situation to say, I am okay with what I've done right now, and I can take X long break or whatever, right? Like, do you feel something similar to that, Brant?
I know the point that you're talking about, but instead of taking breaks, I end up working till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then it's done, and then I go, okay, well, I'm gonna go to sleep forever, and I hope nothing needs to change.
Yeah.
So usually we end up at the same fork in the path, but we often take different directions in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all very deadline focused, as John said. So it's kind of like, okay, I know I've got to hit these certain times in the week. When do I have to edit things to hit those times? For me, it's like I can pretty well be assured that all Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm going to be unavailable and working straight through all of that time, pretty much. And then Sunday nights, I do remix. And then the rest of the time, it gets into a weird like gray area.
Yeah.
So I use an iPhone app called Hours, and it's really helpful for people who are like freelance or whatever, and they need to keep track of the time that they spend to work on things for clients. Now I get paid a flat rate, so that's not actually like super necessary for me, but it's really good for me to like organize my time. And so I've noticed ever since I started doing that, which I've been using it for 4 months, 5 months, something like that. I've noticed that ever since I started using it, there's definitely some points in time that are very clearly defined as work for me, where I go, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm at my computer. I can imagine myself in an office right now doing work. I'm sitting here for the next 10 hours working on this edit or something like that. And then there's times where I go, okay, well, I'm going to log into the Scam School YouTube channel, and I might be there for 3 minutes and just back out, in which case I wouldn't add it to the app because that's just a waste of my time. But I might go in there and then realize, oh, an hour later, I've been working on
Comments,
moderation and closed captions and just kind of general cleaning things up. And that's like real work, but sometimes it doesn't get logged, and sometimes I do stuff where it's just like maintaining and updating the wiki, and I go like, is this work? Yes, but also like not really necessary work. Like that's not what I'm getting paid to do, but it's something that I feel is something that needs to be done. And there's definitely a lot of like weird case scenarios. But I feel like I have been better about it lately, because there's definitely a time where I was just around the clock working all the time.
Yeah.
And I think ever since using this app, I've actually been like more cognizant of that. And so I've been taking more breaks, and just like a lot of times now when I do long edits and stuff, I go, okay, I've made progress. Like I finished this pass. I'm going to go for a walk and eat dinner.
Yeah.
Which is something that I would never do previously. Previously, I would just go, okay, I am 50%. I am 50% done. I still have 50% to go. So maybe I will like grab something that I can shove in my face while I'm working.
Sure.
So I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a more healthy separation. And I think like earlier we were talking about, I don't really watch Night Attack anymore. I think sometimes like cutting out some of those like unnecessary things from me helps keep me away from some of those gray areas where it's like I used to watch, before I stopped watching Night Attack, I would watch Night Attack out of obligation, because I felt like it was necessary for me to watch that to make sure I knew what was going on in the community. I was always in the IRC chat, even when I had no reason to be there, because I was like, oh, well, what if somebody says something, and I have to know if somebody in the community says something.
Yeah.
And sure, like there's value in that, but I think you can go overboard with that sometimes, and I was very prone to doing that, and these days less so.
You kind of have to know yourself too, and make adjustments based on, how you work, and because like when you're, and I might be misinterpreting what you're saying, but like you were saying when you are making like a lot of progress, you're like, okay, now's a good time to stop and like do. And again, that might be me misinterpreting what you define as, progress. But like when I'll have times where I'm like, I need to work so hard. And then like nothing is happening. And now I recognize those times of like, well, right now I shouldn't do anything. I should just have some, I should take a break now because I'm just banging my head against the wall, basically.
Yeah.
But then it's like other times it's like, okay, I have started making progress. And then in my brain, I'm always like, I should take a break to reward myself for the progress. But then I'm like, no, because this is like the like rare progress time. So like then I'll like push through it. And those are times where, sometimes I'll extend, I'll be like, oh, I usually try to cut off when I work here. But it's like, oh, if I'm behind and I'm making a lot of progress, I'll just go through and then,
Yeah, I used to have a really passionate mentality of momentum, right? Like once you start making progress on something, you can't stop it for any reason because you have momentum on your side. And
you're going at the most efficient rate.
Yeah, and so you're more likely to make more progress quicker if you don't stop it. But I think there's a little bit of that. But at least with the stuff that I do, there are definitely stretches of time where you don't realize until too late that you at one point had momentum and then you started going through the slog of cutting up audio and manually normalizing it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you just realize, yeah, I've kind of made progress, but right now what would help me more than anything is like
to stop it,
refreshing my palette.
Yeah.
And with edits, that happens all the time where it's like, God, I wish that I could get Modern Rogue mostly done and then sleep on it and then wake up and go, oh, now I can see all the things that are wrong with it. But like the way that Modern Rogue is scheduled right now, I can't really do that.
Yeah.
Although now that we're moving it to a new channel, I might see about changing when it goes live. Because that would help me so much instead of having like 12 hours to work on it.
Yeah.
But then again, also I've been a little bit better about working on stuff a little bit early. Mm-hmm. It's not something I can do every week, but the weeks that I can do it, it's tremendously helpful.
Yeah. The giveaway videos are kind of in the same vein. And it's a little bit of a different circumstance because, at least the Modern Rogues we can shoot ahead of time and we have a sense of like what they are. Versus like, 24 hours ago, we did not know what this giveaway video was.
Yeah, sure.
And it's counterbalanced by like, well, it's a super simple setup and I'm able to do my time code things and, take notes and that helps expedite a lot of the processes. And it doesn't take as long to shoot as a Modern Rogue episode and it's not as complicated to edit. But
it's usually more conversational too, whereas Modern Rogue is very like a produced kind of like there's still some improvisation that goes on with Modern Rogue, but less so than a giveaway video.
Right. But still the time crunch is still there regardless of how easy it is. And so even if it's I generally think the giveaway videos can be 4 to 8 or 10 hours depending on how complex they are edits. But like to squeeze that into, usually less than a 24-hour period and hopefully try to find some time to sleep so that, I can look at stuff before it goes out and then whatever edits and stuff. And then trying to make sure that the guys have time to make an email, make GIFs out of stuff, talk over titles and whatever. That's kind of a similar vein of like, this would be great for a Sunday show or a Saturday show,
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. In any case, the timing stuff, and I think we've seen that the timing stuff on these things are weird for a little while now. And I think
there's like a weird concentration.
Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see how they shake out, right? Like, I think we'll just have to see, right?
Yeah. And also with like, back to Modern Rogue, like if we're going to start doing those teaser things, then it's like I've already
Someone to make those.
I've already got these shows that I'm putting out and just barely have enough time to make.
Yeah.
Now I also have to do this weird condensed version every week, and yeah, so we gotta work out the kinks on that.
Yeah. So that is that's a little bit of talking about off time. I think that's gonna have to do it for the show. We're coming up on an hour and a half. Good episode. I think we had a really good discussion. Is there anything coming up this month? I think, the travel is pretty much done for most of the rest of the year. This coming week, Justin Robert Young is going to be in town.
Oh.
Because Adam Curry is going to be in studio for Night Attack. And so that's kind of the new big hyped thing going on. So they're going to be around if you want to get some FaceTime with Justin. I think they're also going to be recording some new Night Attack album stuff. Angela and her crew are very diligently pouring over a lot of material. So that's some of the podcasting stuff. We mentioned the channel. It's bit.ly/Modern Rogue channel, all lowercase. Go subscribe.
We'll have a proper link to that soon enough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For now, go and subscribe, please.
Please. Please.
And anything else?
We're going to be shooting like 8 Modern Rogue episodes next week. So we'll see how that goes. I expect we'll actually probably shoot 6, but we're aiming for 8.
Yeah. I think 8 is possible if there are enough small ones.
Yeah.
And I have to look at our list. I don't know if we need to shoot Scam School that Thursday, the day, like 2 days before. If not, I would really like to push it back because camera equipment and batteries and stuff are going to be really pushed. And I think for super long Modern Rogue shoots, having those options working and charged up and fully available is going to be super important. So maybe we'll do that the Thursday after if we can swing that.
And so this upcoming month, we should have a comprehensive behind the scenes of a Modern Rogue shoot. It was the behind the scenes for the Millwall Brick.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were shooting that. That was a lot of fun. A lot of interesting things. You'll see kind of how our shooting setup is.
Yeah, you'll see how hectic and weird it was before the shoot, where nobody knew what was happening, and then setting up the episode and then shooting the episode, and then there's also some footage of like piecing together the episode afterwards and offloading footage and just the whole process. So
very nice.
Hopefully I'll find some time to put that together. Also, there's a little bit of a sneak peek at a new episode in that behind the scenes.
Oh right, when we tested something and we didn't have time for it.
Yeah, so I don't know if that'll go before or after that episode proper comes out, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Also, a quick shout out to Ryan Little. He made music that we used in our latest episode of Modern Rogue. The
Ryan Little beat.
the Mai Tai episode, and he found us and left a comment on the video, and I thought that was real cool.
Yeah. This show is called The Bizarre Briefing. You can get to it at, oh, damn it. I never know. I think it's The Bizarre Briefing.
This is great.
This is perfect. Nope, it's bizarrebriefing.com. bizarrebriefing.com. You can get all the old episodes, all the new episodes. Get our Twitters, RSS, YouTubes, blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Or youtube.com/scam stuff.
That's right.
Is that a link work?
That's correct. Plugs. John, we'll start with you.
I don't have a plug, but there's people talking about the U.S. shipping thing that we did last week, and I feel like I have to address it as my plug. I'm really sorry to all the international people who got that email about the U.S. shipping too. And it had crossed my mind before we had sent it out, but we have been not... When we enter the emails, that we do use MailChimp, and when we put the emails in, we have opted to not be like tracking everyone's information about everything, like where they live. Like we could do that based on orders about where they live and stuff like that, or when they sign up, for the giveaways, have an entry point for that. But it was one of those things where it's like opting to not be, super creepy and like having all that information, like ended up, being hurtful to, be like, hey, look at all the U.S. people getting. Although hilariously, we did a lot of international orders that weekend too. So But yeah, if you're ever an international customer and you have problem with shipping stuff, the nice thing about paying for it is we do work really hard to make sure if anything goes wrong in that process, we have that budget there to make sure that you get your stuff. So
Yeah.
So sorry about the that you couldn't get free shipping, but do know that if you are an international customer, we will take care of you.
Yeah.
That's
And
all.
If
That's
there are
my
ever any
plug.
problems, email scamstuffstore@gmail.com.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
Brant.
You can find me on Twitter talking about the new Rocket League update, which is great.
Ooh.
Atlanta,
Hey.
the series on FX, which is great. Giant Bomb, which is putting out a lot of premium videos lately for free,
Yeah.
which is great. And everything else.
Sounds like a great time on your Twitter.
Yeah, twitter.com/Gatowag, GATOWAG.
That's right. You can find me on Twitter @Brycas, BRYCAS. You can also find me on Twitch @Brycas, BRYCAS. I've been teasing this the past 2 weeks or so. I'm working. I took, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode of the Bizarre Briefing, but I took a music theory class during one of those road trips, one of the magic trips. And I'm working on some music, and I think I might on Saturday or maybe tonight try to. This episode won't be out by then. I'm going to try to have this episode out earlier because it is already
Right.
late. But I'm trying to work on new music, and a side effect of that will be hopefully streaming music, making music more. So be sure to check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Brycas, BRYCAS. Again, you can get the show at bizarrebriefing.com or on iTunes or on Google Play Podcasts. I think we're on Stitcher. I hope we are. And youtube.com/scamstuff. And we will tentatively be recording the next episode of the Bizarre Briefing in 3 weeks on September.
Mamma mia.
September 26th. It's an early.
It's
end
one of those lots of. Oh wait.
We do it on the
Trying to
last
figure out
Monday.
that-
We try to do it.
Yeah,
on the last
well,
Monday.
I was trying to figure out why. For some reason, that's actually further away than I thought it was going to be. Like 2 weeks, we're going to do a new one.
Oh
But-
yeah. Well, I guess technically it's like 10, like
2 weeks and 3 days.
2 weeks, 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because even though that it's just the way the month started and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And if you have any like topic suggestions or questions or anything like that, hit us in the comments or
Or any of our
Twitters
social
or
media stuff that
wherever.
we
Just-
mentioned. Yeah.
Just let us know and we'll bring it up on the next episode.
Yeah. And so with that, I bring the Bizarre Briefing to a close.
All right.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's concise and direct and
Sure.
like you could probably put that on a shirt.
What's like what do they call for like like a military briefing or something? What's like the official term when it's like over? That's what we should use.
It adjourns
Yeah.
like a court.
Dossier?
No, like
The Bizarre
a.
Briefing is adjourned.
Do they use that for like a? I was
Bye.
thinking like a Never mind. We'll talk about it later.
Nailed it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.